Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Politics and Why. Meet your candidates in 2022. I'm Jane Hansen, and we ask 3 questions in 3 minutes. And today we're talking with Mike Corbett, a third-generation Teamster who is running for Senate District 59 in New York. It's actually a new district with an old number, and so there's lots of opportunity there. Represents in Queens, kind of along the Long Island waterfront, in Brooklyn, Greenpoint, and then in Manhattan, Stuytown, Gramercy, Murray Hill. So it's a tri-borough district, so to speak. So Mike, welcome. Tell us why it is you've decided to run.
Well, thanks for having me, Jane. Look, I decided to run because this is where I've lived my entire life. I'm currently sitting in the same rent-stabilized apartment that I grew up in Murray Hill. 40 years, 7 months, and a couple of days, but who's counting? So I've known this neighborhood like the back of my hand. Went to public schools over here, proud graduate of PS 40, Junior High School 104 on the east side. Like I said, we can walk every block on the Manhattan part, and I could tell you a different story from a different time in my life. But it's not just the Manhattan part. I also worked in Queens quite extensively. Both my union hall from when I was with Teamsters Local 814 was in Long Island City, but most recently, for 5.5 years, I worked for New York City Council member Costa Constantinides in Astoria, and I was working directly with members of the community on things like participatory budgeting, legislation, and other issues that were important to them. For participatory budgeting, we did some great work. We funded projects in schools, libraries, Astoria houses, just to name a few. So I know the district very well, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running for this seat. I'm hoping to learn more about the parts that I don't know, but I think if you look at my my sort of living and working experience, it's sort of the entirety of this district.
Well, so talk to us about if you are elected, if you make it through the August 23rd primary and then are in the general election and win and go to Albany, what would be your first priority?
Well, all of that sounds good, but I do have to get to work if I get there. And I think the first thing, there's quite a few things, and I'll just try to name a few. When I talk to voters, whether it's in Stuyvesant Town, Queensbridge Houses, or McCarran Park, public safety is the #1 issue. It's the #1 thing that's on voters' minds. And I think we need to be very smart about the way we approach public safety, take a balanced approach. I think, things that we need to do. Wraparound services. It's a phrase that you're going to hear. I have said more in this campaign than any other phrase, surprising to me, but it's the one thing that's sort of all encompassing. But specifically regarding public safety, we need to make sure that we're doing violence intervention programs, making sure that we're doing job training, making sure that we're providing mental health services for folks. We also need to ensure that law enforcement has the tools they need to succeed, which include being trained to identify when they're responding to someone with a mental health or disability issue. This happened to a friend of mine. He was pulled over. He has Asperger's. The cop didn't understand. He got a ticket. And actually today, he has to go back and take his road test. This is someone who's been driving for 25 years, should have never been in that situation. And if the police officer was properly trained, might not have happened. But I'm also not asking police officers to be mental health professionals. Want to make sure that they can identify and have a professional respond. So that would be one of the biggest things that I want to do when elected.
All right, very quickly, because you only have 10 seconds left. What's something we don't know about you that we should know?
Went to LaGuardia High School, graduate of 1999. That's the Fame School. Was there at the same time, though didn't know Michael Che and Nicki Minaj. But one of my best friends from LaGuardia, Dino Verduris, he is definitely going to always be more famous than me, even if I get elected, because he runs Dino's Wonder Wheel in Coney Island.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike, for being with us. Best of luck in the primary. And thank you all for joining us. I'm Jane Hansen. We'll see you next time.